Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google+. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for Sunday, April 10th, 2016, around 6:01 in the morning, Billerica, Massachusetts. It's going to be a sunny day in the Merrimack Valley of Massachusetts, about 46, 47 degrees, seasonably cold. And this week's not going to warm up that much. It's probably going to be like 50s most of the week, and some chances of rain and some chances of being seasonably cool. Some news to report. Going to be a little bit of a long news section. Happy National Siblings Day, and very sad news to report in the NFL. Former NFL player Will Smith passed away at the age of 34. He was shot and he passed away, and his also wife was involved in the shooting, the same shooting as well, in New Orleans, and she's wounded, shot in her leg. This is so sad. And also some NHL news. The Dallas Stars clinched first place in the Western Conference, so they'll be facing off against the Wild in first round. And also Alex Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals scored his 50th goal of the year, 7th time that he reached the 50-goal plateau. The Toronto Maple Leafs have clinched the worst record in the NHL, meaning they have the best shot of getting the number one pick in the NHL draft. With the draft lottery, Austin Matthews is going to probably be the number one pick, and he's supposed to be a franchise-type player. But knowing the NHL, the Oilers will probably get the number one pick for the 5th time. People say that would probably be rigged for them to get better because they're going into a new arena next year. But we'll wait and see about that. And sources out of Boston have Claude Julien getting fired as soon as Monday. Second straight year the Bruins are going to miss the playoffs, and he's the scapegoat this year. I think they gave him a pass last time they missed the playoffs, but they're not going to give it to him this time. Very disappointing, because Julien is the all-time winningest coach in Bruins history, and it's not good to have a meltdown the second straight year, and you can't fire the players. You could trade them, and Claude Julien is the fall guy, not the one on television. He's going to get another job within days. And the Atlanta Hawks beat the Boston Celtics by the score 118-107. The Hawks are in sole possession of third place in the Eastern Conference, and the Celtics could get home court advantage if they win out. And North Dakota won the NCAA men's hockey tournament last night. And that's about it on news. My first video blog subject today is a continuation of the top 50 greatest professional wrestling tag teams of all time. Now I've reached from number 20 to number 11, and here they are. Number 20 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling tag teams of all time, the Fantastics, Bobby Fulton, Tommy Rogers from the City of Angels. They were a legendary tag team in many Southern wrestling territories, including World Class Championship Wrestling, CWA, UWF, and Jim Crockett Promotions, winning many regional tag team titles, having a legendary feud with the Sheepherders and the Midnight Express. Later on, the Fantastics with Bobby Fulton and his brother Jackie. They should be in the WWE Hall of Fame. They never had a run in the WWE because the WWE thought they were too small and too southern back in the 80s. Number 19 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling tag teams of all time, the Hart Foundation, Bret the Hitman Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. They won 2 WWE Tag Team Championships back in the 80s and the 90s, first time as heels with Mouth of South Jimmy Hart, having a legendary feud with the British Bulldogs and Strike Force, and when they were faces, they feuded with Demolition. Number 18 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling tag teams of all time, the High Flyers, Greg Gagne and Jim Brunzell. They were multiple-time AWA Tag Team Champions. They had great chemistry together. They were PWA's Tag Team of the Year in 1981. They were an awesome team. Number 17 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling tag teams of all time, Wade Cutler Stevens and Nick Bockwinkel. They were AWA World Tag Team Champions multiple times. They were managed by Bobby the Brain Heenan. They were a technical heel team, and they were so awesome. Number 16 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling tag teams of all time, the Texas Outlaws, Dirty Dick Murdoch and the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. They were heels in several territories in the early 1970s. They had a long-running feud with Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher over the AWA World Tag Team titles. They were legendary matches. Number 15 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling tag teams of all time, the New Age Outlaw, the Badass Billy Gunn, the Road Dogg Jesse James. If you ain't down with this, we got 2 words for you. Julie Bratton. They were multiple-time WWE Tag Team Champions, members of DX. They broke the rules. They had legendary feuds with Kane and Mankind, and also Terry Funk and Cactus Jack and the Legion of Doom. They made a comeback in 2014 winning the WWE Tag Team titles. They should be in the WWE Hall of Fame, but they'll have to wait until DX gets inducted. Number 14 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling tag teams of all time, Demolition, Axe and Smash, and later Crush. Demolition was the WWE's version of the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, which they made a debut in 1987. They had face paint. Originally, they were managed by Johnny V and eventually Mr. Fuji. They were heels, but they got so cheered. They won the WWE Tag Team Championship at WrestleMania 4 and held it for over 15 months. That's a record that still stands today. They also held it 2 other times, had feuds with Strikeforce, Powers of Pain, the Brainbusters, the Heart Foundation, the Colossal Connection. Towards the 3rd reign, they had to get crushed because Axe, whose real name's Bill Eadie, had he had some health issues, and they were afraid he would have a heart attack. So they had to get crushed, and eventually they phased Demolition out in 1991. Number 13 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling tag teams of all time, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, also known as the Brainbusters. Arn and Tully were tag teams for about 2 years. First, they were tag teams in NWA as members of 4 Horsemen, winning the NWA World Tag Team title on 2 separate occasions, feuding with the Rock and Roll Express and Lex Luger and Barry Windham, and also the Midnight Express. And then they signed with the WWE, became members of the Heenan family, had a legendary feud with the Rockers, and eventually, and also the Bushwhackers and the Demolition. They won the WWE Tag Team titles in 1989. July had a classic tag team match with the Heart Foundation to open up SummerSlam 1989. They signed a contract to go back to WCW and to reform the original 4 Horsemen with Ric Flair and Ole Anderson, but Tully Blanchard flunked a drug test and it got back to WCW. They reneged on the deal, and they brought Arn Anderson back, but his contract was devalued, and this was disappointing, because it would have been cool to see the original 4 Horsemen back in WCW in 1990, but that's another story for another day. Number 12 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling tag teams of all time, Harlem Heat. Harlem Heat was Booker T and Stevie Ray, real life brothers, they dominated the WCW World Tag Team title scene for many, many years, winning several WCW World Tag Team titles, having Sister Sherry and Colonel Rob Parker in the corner. Booker T's a WWE Hall of Famer. Can you dig it, sucker? And number 11 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling tag teams of all time, Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, the Midnight Rockers / the Rockers. The Midnight Rockers first teamed in Central States in 1985, then to the AWA. They had a legendary feud with Buddy Rose, and Pretty Boy Doug Stum was probably one of the best tag team feuds in the history of professional wrestling, and also an underrated feud for the AWA, which was probably one of their last great feuds. And the Midnight Rockers won the AWA World Tag Team titles on twice. Also, they wrestled as heels in Memphis, feuding with the Rock and Roll Express. That was a classic tag team feud, which, that should have happened in the WWE, but, in the WWE, they probably would have the Rock and Roll Express heels and Rockers faces. Rockers had a great run in the WWE, never won in the WWE tag team titles. They were supposed to win it in October of 1990, but they beat the Hart Foundation. That was supposed to run on Saturday night's main event, but the condition of the ring ropes broke, and that match was unairable on television. So that was a phantom title reign, and it's disappointing. Eventually, the Rockers break up on the barbershop when Shawn Michaels throws Marty Jannetty through the plate glass window, and then Shawn Michaels rips up the WWE magazine with, if there's problems with the Rockers. Is there a problem with the Rockers? I don't think so. The Rockers reunited in 2005 for one match on WWE Monday Night Raw against La Resistance. And that's about it on that. Tomorrow's the grand finale for this video blog of the top 50 greatest tag teams of all time, number 10 through number 1, and the next big one I'm going to do will be the top 50 meteorologists of all time, both men and women, and you'll probably know who's going to be number 1. And that's about it. I'll be back later, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google+, for 2 more video blogs. One will be about the former regional sports network out of the Carolinas, CSET. And the third and final video blog of the night will be my personality profile. Tonight's personality profile will be a legendary basketball announcer, the late great Chick Hearn. Keep calm, everybody. I'm a Julie Butter guy. Molly Roseblood of WCCO rocks and has nice legs. Elizabeth Hutt's so stunning. She's the best. Amy Swansea is awesome. Julie Gower of Fox 25 has nice legs. And in the words of Dee Patel last week, no bus. See you later.